Hi, I'm Jane Colette, and I am thrilled to invite you to the launch of the YYC Queer Writers' first and third project, Screw Chocolate and Screw Chocolate 2. We are at Owl's Nest today at 7 o'clock, and we hope you will join us. It's going to be so exciting. I'm so happy that we're actually able to offer in print both of our projects. This project, it was our inaugural project, Screw Chocolate 1. It's got these incredible illustrations from photographs by Jennifer Weichman. And then this year's project is Screw Chocolate 2. And it features these gorgeous icicle photographs by another local photographer, Leslie Pringle. And of course, the photographs illustrate fabulous queer valentines that run the gamut from filthy to sweet. So we have 16 valentines in this year's project and 14 in last year's, representing I think probably about a dozen writers, and I expect at least 7 or 8 of them to be at the launch on tonight, and you can meet them and hear excerpts from their work. Because we have so many writers coming, and I want to make sure that they all have a chance, you have a chance to meet them and hear them and showcase their work. I won't be reading tonight, but I thought it would be fun to share my story with you this way and perhaps incite you to come and hear the rest of our awesome work. So my story begins the collection, and it's called Benign Beginnings. And I have to confess, the pieces I have in Screw Chocolate 1 were just, I told them they didn't have to write erotica. That was my default mode. And so what I wrote was just way filthier than anything that anyone else wrote. This year, and I'm not sure if I should be proud of this or not, whether I have just matured and my work is, has more depth than just pure descriptions of sex, or whether I've infected the group with my dirty mind. But really, my piece is really like middle of the road. There's certainly much more provocative stuff than what I'm offering to you. So I think it's a good way to figure out what, to give you a taste of what you'll find inside. Things that are more risque than what I'm giving you. And also some incredibly sweet and thought-provoking and completely not dirty pieces as well. So Benign Beginnings. Now I'm going to be reading off my laptop as opposed to from the book, so I don't have to turn pages, and I want to be able to see the camera on me, so I'm a little bit worried I'm going to have this like weird glazed look. Just close your eyes if that happens and just listen to my voice, and I'll tell you when you can open them. Okay? Are you ready? I'm going to start reading, so if I look like a dork right now, I need you to close my eyes and just listen. But if I look really cute, then keep on watching. Benign Beginnings. The girl is 10, 13 years younger than I am. Blue hair, brown eyes, unfurrowed skin. She's also half a foot shorter. Why do they all have to be so short? My inner primal sub-outer femme moans. How is this going to work? How much suspension of belief am I going to have to engage in to imagine? Editor, unfurrowed? Is that a word? Jane, could you just read the piece through once without interrupting its flow with questions? She smiles. Her smile lights up a room. She knows this. She tells me so later. It makes tears swim in my eyes, and I cry. She crawls across the cushions of the Moroccan restaurant from her corner of the booth tent to mine, and into my armpit, and then over it, and suddenly I'm enveloped in her tiny arms. Sumptuous cleavage. Oh, holy fuck. Those are really fabulous breasts. I am suddenly a 12-year-old boy or a genderless infant. I am perfectly soothed. I rest my wet cheek on the bare exposure of flesh below the neck, above the plunge. Pillows. Perfection. Editor. Pillows? Jane. You know what would be nice? If you weren't so fucking judgmental about every single one of my word choices. She holds me. Asks questions I don't want to answer, but I do anyway, voice stained with tears, fighting to keep them back, losing. Then she says things, about my tears sort of, about the cure for them, which she promises, well, not promises, suggests, is hidden in those breasts. Her somewhat twisted mind. I caress the blue hair. Hot tears burrow into her neck, and suddenly tears transform into lust and desire. Kiss. Lick. Bite. She moans as the waitress, who is nice but talks too much and needs a different kind of shampoo, brings our dessert. I want to touch you in all sorts of inappropriate ways, I murmur. She spreads her scarf so I can. We will never be able to come to this restaurant again, I think, as my fingers replace my wet cheek on her skin. Her breath quickens. She describes herself to me as an asexual, fine, a gray sexual, whose response to sex is, well, intellectual, curious, not passionate. She uses phrases such as borrowed arousal, mirrored desire. I know which algorithms to run to provide the expected response. She also tells me she's a benign sociopath. First, I think it's because she thinks that's what I want to hear, and then I think, indeed, that's what a sociopath would say under these circumstances, and I laugh through my tears. She tells me about her other lovers, romantic partners, she calls them, and sexual partners, the handful of penises she's willing to put in her mouth, as opposed to the dozens and dozens that can penetrate her very tight pussy, even when half flaccid. Dozens and dozens and dozens of Tinder dates. She has perfected the science of the one-night stand. She has very beautiful lips, and I have searing pain in my chest, throat, belly, head. It disappears when I drop my face to her neck. Returns when I emerge. Pain. Tears. She seems to like the tears. Editor. Does she now? Jane. She does. Editor. Fuck Jane. Not again. Jane. Just read. We first meet the day before I return to work on a work-in-progress novel. The novel exists as 2 drafts, both bad and inadequate, and one idea, brilliant. She exists as a Bumble profile. I am a professional who loves to have fun and meet new people. Also food, kink, poly, pan. Also a unicorn. I swipe right with no expectations or excitement. Clinical detachment. Perhaps I think, pretty child. Perhaps I think, too young. Also, spiders. She is caressing a tarantula in one of her profile photographs. But we match. She writes, we seem to have a lot in common. Nice to meet you. I respond, half lie, I suppose, but it sounds like truth. Hello, I was hoping we'd match. Nice to meet you too. We meet a few days later at 10 p.m. in a shisha lounge. She's allergic to tobacco. We leave. That day, she's full of frustration and angst. I listen. I am interested, but unengaged, cold, like a psychopath, clinical. Editor. I don't like where this is going. Jane. Hush, just read. Pain, searing, tears, damned. They don't come until she drops me off at home and I crawl into bed beside you. I'm not sure you hear them. I hope you don't. After all, I damn them, hide them for you. Editor. Who is you? Jane. You don't need to know. Editor. Extra character. Unnecessary. Kill it. Jane. Fuck you. Today, I keep all my darlings. There will be another meeting, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. Perhaps I am another scalp, another notch on her metaphoric bedpost. I don't mind. I like being on a benign sociopath's bucket list. Perhaps she will be my methadone, or at least anesthesia. She promises, no, she does not promise, suggests that she could be medicine, even a cure. Pain, tears, lick, kiss, drown in scent, experience distraction. Delicious. Her text, hey, what's your schedule like this week? I think, you can have me any night except for Tuesday and Friday. Choose. It will end. All things end. Badly or goodly. Editor. Goodly? Well, you mean well. Jane. Goodly. I don't mind. Tears. I have 2 story titles, outlines out of the experience already. Stoking a horny asexual's desires. Flaccid penis whisperer. She wants to be my muse. More? I want you to use me, she says. Her smile lights up the room. It's not the reason I cry. I kiss the brown eyes, caress the blue hair. You see, I have a thing for psychopaths, I confess. That's why, she says, and envelops, drowns me in her flesh pheromones and the echo of feelings I know are only my own. What you need now is a benign psychopath who does no harm. I surrender. Editor. This ends badly. Jane. Or goodly. Regardless, it ends. Everything ends. But first, it must begin. I actually fucked up that last line. It should be, everything ends, but first it begins. But now that I've read it out loud, I think maybe it should be, first it must begin. It's a really interesting process reading your written work out loud. I'm obviously primarily a read me in your head kind of writer, and so whenever I read my work out loud, and on the rare occasions where I work up enough nerve to perform it in public, I find it's such a different experience. And you know, in my first audiobook, my narrator Elisa Kay ended up rewriting big chunks of my dialogue on the fly as we were going, because she said, I can't say this is weird. And I tried to say it and I'd be like, yeah, I can't say this either, this is weird. Anyway, so that was Benign Beginnings, and thank you very much for listening. Our launch is tonight at Owl's Nest at 7 p.m. That's in Calgary. If you are watching this and you're not in Calgary, you can still buy the book. My links and all of that are on my website, mjanecolette.com/screwchocolate, or just search for Screw Chocolate on Amazon or Chapters or any of those sites, and you should be able to find it there too. Thank you very much. And again, Calgary, I hope to see you tonight. Bye-bye.